Okay, last thing that we want to take a look at with point slope form, we've already covered how to write an equation if you know a point and a slope or if you know 2 points, but we haven't looked at the graph at all. So let me go over one example of each of those with you. Okay, if you look at number 7, you're supposed to graph the equations below, all right? And hopefully you can recognize eventually with some practice that this is in slope-intercept, not slope-intercept, point-slope form. Okay, so when you see that, right away we know that our line is going to have a slope of -3, and our point comes from these two numbers. Now, since the original form of point slope form is y minus y1, this must have been y minus -4. And same thing with the x. Since this is a +2, but the original form for point slope is a minus, this must have been x minus -2. So what that means is the coordinate of the one point on our graph would be the x coordinate was -2 and the y coordinate was -4. All right, so that's a little tricky, but remember the original version of point slope form always has a minus here. So if you see a +4, that means the y coordinate must have been the opposite, -4. Same thing here, x plus 2, since it's usually x minus, that must have been a -2. So that's really all we need to graph. We can plot our point, -2, -4. And then from that point, we're going to count out a slope of -3. Okay, and remember, -3, I'm supposed to rise -3, run +1. But since I don't have enough room, remember, I can also do this. I can rise +3 and run -1. And you can see that would, again, put us in that negative slope. All right, so from your point slope form, identify your slope, which is pretty easy. You can see over here the slope would be -2, and then figure out the point that was used to make the equation. If it's plus, remember your coordinate's going to be a negative. All right, let's look at the second one down here, number 11. This time you are supposed to write an equation in point slope form. So all I need to do is pick any point. Okay, I think the directions say use the right hand point, so we're going to use this point as our point, which would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. And then remember, for point slope form, we need a point and we need a slope. So we have to figure out the slope of this line. I'm going to count from here to here. I would have to rise -1 and run 1, 2, 3, 4. So it looks like my slope is -1/4. So to write my equation, I'm going to do y minus the y coordinate, which is 3, equals m, or -1/4, x minus the x coordinate, which is 4. And that's in slope, or not slope intercept, I keep saying that. That's in point slope form. Okay, so to write an equation in point slope form, all you need to know is the slope, which you can count from the graph, rise over run, and I need 1 point, and they're giving me 2 here. I could also use a different one, but just to keep us consistent so we all have the same answer, I think they're going to tell you which point to use. Otherwise, we would all have different answers. Hope that helps. Go ahead and give it a try, and you can check your answers.